This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, and you're listening to Python's Paradise, your film and music show, and this is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And you know, folks, I have on the phone with me one of the most beautiful women I have ever seen. She ranks right up there with Grace Kelly, in my opinion. I'm talking about the wonderfully enchanting and spellbinding and talented Caroline Munro. Hi, Caroline.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Have you ever been out this way before?
I've been to Canada insofar as I've been to Toronto and I've been to Vancouver, and I did the Rocky. I did the trip on there last year, actually, on the Rocky Mountaineer, which was extraordinary. So I kind of got a taste of Canada, and it's so beautiful. But that was a big old title you gave me, which is kind of quite hard to live up to, but thank you very much anyway.
Well, you know, I mean it. I gotta tell you, it's right there. I mean, I've watched you growing up, you know, and after all, watching Slaughter High, there you are playing a teenager, and I know you weren't.
I certainly was not, that's for sure. They were really kind of pushing it there, but they said, well, you could do it. I said, well, I'll try. The others were a lot younger, obviously, and some were American and some were English, so it was a kind of a mix. So I did my best anyway.
Yeah, you know where I'm located here in the New Brunswick area?
Not exactly. Are you east or west or middle?
I'm east.
You're east, so you're nearer Toronto?
No. Toronto's about they're about 4 hours behind me, which means they're 8 hours behind you.
Yes, I'm trying to think on the map. So you're completely on east. So you're near Seaboard, sort of sea area, or?
I'm very close to Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Okay. Oh my goodness, you're very high up then. You're
yeah.
really high up, aren't you?
Yeah.
I know when the plane flies to Los Angeles, it flies over Halifax. They always point it out. I mean, not that we can see it because we're 38,000 feet high, but they say Halifax, we're just passing over Halifax. They always say that. So I kind of know where you are on the map anyway.
Well, the closest thing we have to celebrities is the Trailer Park Boys, and I'm not sure if you know who they are, but Ivan Reitman.
But I'm intrigued.
Well, the Ivan Reitman produced their first movie, and they've done 3 movies, and their show has gone 11 seasons, and they're located out of Halifax.
Wow! So they shoot it there and record it there, do they? They do everything there. Gosh. Okay.
Yeah, they.
That's impressive, but I have to see it now.
Well,
maybe we don't have it in the UK yet. I don't know.
No, I doubt it, but you could probably find them online, though. Like I said,
I could.
Ivan Reitman produced their first movie, but they've gone 11 seasons, so. And that.
Gosh, so it's obviously very successful. Is it shown in the States, or is it Canadian based only, or obviously it must be in the States?
It's Canadian, but it is. It's in the States, but it's very popular, like in Texas and places like that, in New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's kind of like our Cheech and Chong.
Oh, gosh, I hate to say it, I remember that. Yes, that was great. I do remember that. Yeah, Cheech and Chong. I do.
But there's three of them in the Trailer Park Boys.
Oh gosh, okay.
Yeah, you might find them entertaining. What's that?
Yeah, I love the name, the Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah.
I like that, because we call them caravans over here.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, like, I grew up watching you, and I'm going to say this is such a thrill and an honor to have you come on here. This has been kind of 5 months in the making, because you're my 46th interview I've done since April of 2015. And I review movies, been doing so since 1996, but been doing the radio show here since '05, but was within the last couple of years I got introduced to podcasting. And
Okay.
yeah. And of course, back in March, I did a tribute to Ray Harryhausen, and John Walsh, and come on here. I was in touch with Eric Connor as well, and John Welsh come on here.
Great.
Yeah.
So you spoke with the boys. I was with the boys yesterday. They were having a Ray Harryhausen tribute they showed Sindbad. We were having a film festival in Manchester in England, in the north of England, and John was there and Connor was there and myself. So it was great. They showed the film, and we did a talk, and it still amazes me. Well, it doesn't actually with Ray's work, because Ray's work is just, without Ray there would be no Star Wars and no, so many people just look to him for his work, and he's such an inspiration for so many of today's huge filmmakers. So yeah, but it was lovely to see the film, and it was shown to a family audience, so it was really good to see it again. It looked good. It's got a Blu-ray, and it looks kind of sparkling, and the colors look good, and yeah, nice to see.
Well, back in the mid-'90s, I was lucky enough to get an autographed picture of Ray Harryhausen in the mail. So
okay,
yeah,
that's great. That's a bit special.
Yeah, well, I grew up. I remember Clash of the Titans very, very, very well. It was one of my favorite movies growing up. And when I contacted Eric and John, I said I wanted to do a tribute to Ray Harryhausen and celebrate the 35th anniversary of Clash of the Titans. And of course, yeah. And of course, the Golden Voyage of Sinbad, one of my favorites of his films as well. And you was just dazzling in that, with that little symbol on your hand and that little dance that you did when he's having that image of you.
Not very good, but we had the magic eye on my hand, which was, it was enchanting. It was a beautifully crafted film, and Ray did an extraordinary job to bring his creatures to life. They really did live and breathe, and we kind of, hopefully we went along with the magic as well, and our characters, and it was just a very special film, and people seem to love that film. It is beautiful. I don't get tired of watching it. I don't certainly like watching myself at all, but the film itself is beautiful, and it really stands out, and the music and the cinematography. It's a great film, great piece of film. It did a beautiful job.
I enjoy watching you. I'm always open to watching a beautiful woman.
Oh, well. Anyway, next question.
Well, you were dancing there at the beginning. Now, I noticed in some of your films you do a little bit of dancing. Do you have a dance background?
Not at all. I have two left feet. I don't dance. I just move to the music, basically. Oh, you're thinking of Dracula A.D, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm thinking of both, yeah.
Yeah, I do a little bit of a bop there, but again, it was very, I'm very spontaneous insofar as, I with my acting, I don't like to rehearse too much. I like to kind of, if possible, see what happens on the first take. But then that's just me. A lot of actors like to really rehearse it and really get it down solid. But certainly for Dracula A.D, it was a different thing. It was pretty spontaneous. What you saw was quite free and quite easy, and Christopher Lee was just extraordinary. So I kind of quite like to work that way personally. But Sindbad was different because you're very locked in insofar as because Ray had shown us these extraordinary drawings that he'd done, extraordinary artwork that he created of his creatures. So therefore, we had a bit of an idea of what we'd be up against. So that was good. That was kind of our inspiration. So you had to work along with the stuntmen to work out the moves that the creatures that he would make come to life. You had to kind of block it so that therefore that the actors would be working the way that the creatures would, that Ray would want his creatures. So it's quite hard in that respect, but he was just, I loved that man. He was just a sweet, sweet man. And I'm so much. And my stepdaughter is Vanessa, his daughter's best friend. So they went to school together. So that was so lovely. You know, I got to see Ray so much, and he was just so special. And Diana too. He's a lovely wife.
Well,
feisty Scottish lady. She was fabulous.
yeah, Ray Harryhausen just enhanced my imagination growing up, you know, and loved his movies. And I gotta ask though, out of all the creatures in Golden Voyage, did you have a favorite?
I suppose I have a bit of a soft spot for the homunculus. I think it was so clever. It was very, because it was so tiny and so, well, they were all so tiny, weren't they? Except on screen. But I rather liked, he was so cheeky and so wicked, really. Carly was magical because of course we hadn't seen it until we actually got to see the film. And suddenly our breath was taken away because suddenly there she was in all her splendor, dancing, this wonderful dance. So he just created such magic. And I get these grown men that come to me to the some of the autograph shows I do both here and in Europe and in the States. And they, you know, they look older, and they said they saw the film when they were 12, and it kind of really dates me, but they still remember the creatures and, you know, and Mariana, the character, which is it's very special. It's lovely that people that it left a mark. You know, it certainly left a mark with people, I think. Beautiful film.
And you get carried off by the centaur just before he fought that griffin.
Did. I think we only rehearsed that. We rehearsed it once and then we shot it because obviously they're going to have to carry me and I'm kind of shrieking and goodness knows what. So that was, yeah. They were a troupe of dancers, actually, those men. They were all dancers, and the head dancer was the one that was trying to teach me to do the bit of belly dancing. So it wasn't a woman, it was a man that was teaching me. So, yeah, they were all wonderful American dancers living in Spain, because we shot the whole thing out in Madrid in the studios, in Sevilla studios, and then outside in the mountains, and then in Mallorca, which is a small island off Spain. So we were very lucky. It was incredibly hot because it was in the heat of the summer. So when you see sweat, it is real.
Any reflections on John Philip Law and Tom Baker?
Oh, my goodness. Wasn't I lucky to get to work with those two such different men, but such wonderful actors, both in their own way. And certainly John Philip Law have worked so hard on his swordmanship, and he made such a beautiful, dashing Sindbad, and he got the accent. You know, we had a dialectician to help us with the dialect, so you know, we worked with him, and John did a great dialect. And Tom Baker, what can I say about Tom? I was actually with Tom a couple of weeks ago at an autograph show in London, and he's just wonderful. He's so funny, he's so dry, he's so English.
He wasn't invisible, huh?
But that?
He wasn't
invisible. No, he was very visible. He was very, very visible on Sunday 2 weeks ago. Yeah, he's got a great voice, and he does a lot of voiceovers over here, and he's just such a fabulous actor. You know, he can kind of do everything, obviously, which he proved when after Sinbad, he got offered Doctor Who, and thereby Hangs a Tale. He was just magical. He went on to do that for years. So
you worked with a lot of like classic people, like the Abominable Dr. Phibes. You worked with Vincent Price, and of course you worked with Christopher Lee and Dracula A.D.
That was a turning point for me, certainly working with him, because he was. I had a small part in that film. It was Dracula A.D. 72, and I had a small part, and I was signed to Hammer for a year. and I did 2 films with them. But working with Christopher was absolutely a turning point for me because I found him so extraordinary as Dracula. And again, that scene was, I did a few scenes, but the particular scene with Christopher, I didn't actually want to see him as his Dracula character. So I asked the costume people and the director, Alan Gibson, if I could not see him until he came on the set, so therefore my reaction would be real. And I again, it was not everything you saw that was on in Dracula A.D. was done on set, unlike so many of the films today, which is all CGI or a lot of CGI. Everything was done. So when you see, the bite or the blood coming, it's real, and the people are doing it for real. The special effect people are real. Therefore, your reactions seem to be quite real because it's actually happening. You see what I mean? That makes sense. Yeah. No, he was wonderful, Christopher, to work with, and then Peter Cushing was also in the film in Dracula A.D.
Oh, that's right.
But I had no scenes with him then, but I got the great pleasure to work with him in 1976 on a children's fantasy film, Edgar Rice Burroughs film, the writer, Edgar Rice Burroughs, and it was called At the Earth's Core.
Okay.
Kevin Connor, who now works, he's the director, he now works in America and lives there, I believe, and does a lot of television. But, I got to work with Peter, and that was and Doug McClure. Again, I was so lucky with these 2 wonderful men, but Peter was just enchanting. He's just a lovely, a gentleman and a gentleman, all rolled in one, and a fabulous actor.
And Vincent Price.
And Vincent Price again. Vincent Price, extraordinary again. I had no dialogue because I was contracted to Hammer, and they asked me if I could do, not Hammer, but the film company asked me if I could play the part of Victoria Phibes with Vincent. And I knew it had no dialogue, but Hammer weren't really keen on me to do it. And they said, well, if you do it, I wanted to work with Vincent, and Hammer said, well, if you do it, you don't get a credit. I said, I'm really not bothered about the credit. I just want to watch him work. So that's what I did. So I had no credit in that film, but that was fine. I just watched him work, and he was extraordinary. Real master, just how he kind of morphed into his character was simply wonderful. And he was so sweet. He was just a sweet, sweet man and a brilliant cook. He used to bring lovely food to the set in the morning, and we'd sit there, myself and the makeup girls and hair, and he'd try us out with things. And because he was such a great cook, we'd stuff our faces before we went on set, which was really quite nice. But yeah, he was just a lovely man again. Just charming. Very lucky.
And unfortunately, we just lost Christopher Lee, I think it was last year.
We did last year, yes. Yeah. It's very bizarre, but I was invited to in Paris to a French festival, a film festival, about Hammer. And I'd been talking at great lengths about Christopher. And on the train, the Eurostar, traveling back from Paris to London, I heard the news. We heard the news about Christopher. So, it's kind of devastating because you thought he would go on forever. He kind of seemed immortal. You never, I suppose that's a silly thing to say, but you never think somebody is mortal.
Yeah.
Especially somebody like him. But
yeah, especially the guy who
that's
plays
the only
Dracula.
thing we know for sure, don't we?
Yeah.
Especially Dracula. Yeah.
Well, you also went on, you did The Spy Who Loved Me. You're part of the James Bond franchise. And you get to work with...
I'm very lucky there.
Yeah. What was that experience like?
Oh, it was completely different in a way from, say, the Hammer or the smaller budget films, because obviously it was a big budget at the time, a massive budget. I think they were just trying to come back with The Spy Who Loved Me, because I think the film before maybe hadn't done as well as they thought. So they put a big old budget in this one, and they thought this was going to be the one, and apparently it did. It revived them. But working on it was extraordinary because you had time to kind of get things right, whereas with a smaller budget film, you maybe don't have as much time or as many takes. If you need takes, then it's more difficult because time is money. And on a smaller budget, you pretty much got to kind of lock it in and get it right as fast as you can, within obviously your character and stuff. But with The Spy, you had more time in a way. But also, having said that, the bigger the budget, the more weight it feels on your shoulder. Even though I had a really tiny part, and I got to work with Roger, and he's such a generous, sweet, funny man. He's just lovely to work with. I have been incredibly lucky, in all these years I've worked. I can't really think of anybody that's been certainly the bigger the star, the nicer they are, which is, to me, has run true so far always, which is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, Roger Moore was my mom's favorite Bond too.
Oh, good choice. How old are you then? You're quite young. I think you're a youngie.
I'm 44.
Yes, you were to me, you're young. So your mom would be, okay, so that would be her Bond then, wouldn't it, Roger?
Yeah, I think I was born the same year Dracula A.D. came out.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I was only 10 when that was filmed, of course, you know that. I was just a bit precocious.
There you go.
Yeah.
But also in The Spy Who Loved Me, I mean, Barbara Bach was in that, and that was before she became Mrs. Ringo Starr off the cuff of Caveman.
Yeah. Yes, they met. I believe they met on Caveman, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still remember that film, but so many people's forgotten it. But
I didn't see it. I hate to admit I didn't see it.
Yeah, but Barbara Bach, though, of course, a Bond girl, and of course having you and Barbara as like two classic beauties in one film, like how was Roger Moore able to contain himself there, huh?
Oh, he had his lovely wife Louisa at the time was right there. No, and also, you're doing a job. You actually are doing a job, and you want it to be as right as it can be. But so therefore, it's always a job. It's always a job. It's a lovely job, and we're very privileged. Sometimes it's really hard, to get it right, and sometimes it kind of happens. It feels right. You feel in the right. It sort of slots in. Sometimes you are acting, and sometimes you are reacting. So it's a different sort of way. But he was just brilliant to work with. And so was she. Barbara was lovely. I saw her last year at a garden. We have a big garden show here in London, and she was there with Ringo. I'd never met him before, actually. I remember screaming at the Beatles when I was a kid, when I was about 13.
Yeah.
I remember in my hometown of Brighton, the Beatles came, and I remember that. I remember, being one of the little girls in the audience. So there you go. But he was very sweet. She was lovely. Barbara was really lovely. So
I always liked Barbara,
Yes, she doesn't do any of the shows, and she doesn't, since she didn't say they're married, I think she doesn't really work or anything. As far as I know, she doesn't. She doesn't do, she's not acting anymore. I think she just did a few bits, and then I think she decided that was it, as far as I know.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you, you've also done a lot of horror films too, and one that was very controversial that you did, but I liked it a lot, was Maniac,
I knew you were going to say that, because that was controversial at the time, and apparently still in Germany, it's banned to this day. I'm going to Germany in a week's time, so yeah, they say. That was... Joe Spinell was extraordinary. That actor could do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. He totally inhabited his characters. I worked with him 3 times.
Yeah.
And, it was, and Bill Lustig obviously was the director, and so it was their kind of brainchild together, loosely based on a true Son of Sam or something, an American thing that happened in America, about somebody that went around doing what Joe did to young ladies, which is not good.
Yeah.
So it was very loosely based on that story, but he was wonderful to work with.
You know what?
Small budget, tiny minuscule budget.
You know what stood out to me in that movie?
What was that?
Well, I hate to get too personal, but I never had a girlfriend before. So, because I've always had, until recently, until I gave myself a makeover, I've never been able to approach them very well. And one thing that grabbed me in watching Maniac is when you take his picture there when he's he's out there and he stops the kid on the bike there, and he actually goes and approaches you at your apartment and confidently carries a conversation with you. And I'm sitting there thinking, I liked his confidence.
Well, he had schizophrenia, didn't he? So obviously total split personality. He obviously had his problems with his mother and stuff.
Yeah.
But then he had that other side, and he would completely change. And Joe, well, the character, but also Joe, he would completely change. So again, very clever on his part, very, very clever. He really wanted to do it, and he really wanted to do the next one. He wanted to make another one. He wanted to make a sequel, but sadly he died far too young.
He did,
Yes, I mean, the characterization was interesting with both our... Unfortunately, quite a lot of the footage was lost on the cutting room floor. Bill was so upset because it made more sense of our relationship. I mean, we had a friendship. It was a friendship. So that was meant to be the idea, but I don't know that it was fulfilled enough. It was in the original format, but as I say, sadly, some scenes were lost. So you didn't kind of get to see the build-up. It went from very quickly from one thing to another, so you couldn't. Maybe that was confusing to people. I don't know, but he certainly played both very, very well. Very charming to my character, and then very menacing and evil in his other ones. So yeah, he did it brilliantly.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Kelly Piper, no longer with us, played the nurse who made a very wrong turn in the subway.
Yeah. She's still working, though, is she?
I think I saw in the... I was looking up this film, and I think she passed away in 2009.
No.
Is it Kelly Piper that played the nurse?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Yeah.
She married a director or something, I believe.
Yeah, I
saw her later in Ireland. She was making a film with my husband, and did she really? That's so sad.
I think so. I don't quote me, but I believe I did see that.
Really? Kelly Piper. She was lovely. I think she was so good, too.
Yeah.
In the film. She was excellent.
And then there's...
Gosh, that's so sad.
And there's Abigail Clayton, of course, who played one of the models who ended up in a bad situation in that film.
Yes, What happened to her? She's all right, isn't she?
I think she's still alive. I did look these people up, though, but...
Okay, yeah.
But she hasn't done a whole lot of work, but I know she had that tense scene there at the apartment.
Yeah, she really did.
Yeah.
No, she was great in that. They were all so good, the girls. And then there was a lady who was going out with Tom at the time. Hyena? No, can't remember. Hyena? Something like Hyena? No.
Are you referring to Tom Savini?
Yes.
Yeah, he had that great scene, awesome scene where Spinell's character comes up on the hood of that car and just shoots
That's right. Who was the actress he was with in that? Because that was his girlfriend.
Oh, I don't know. I don't have it right in front of me.
I want to say Hyla. But that song, I don't remember. It's so long ago now.
I've
Anyway, they
heard
were brilliant.
I've heard Tom report that that car is probably still at the bottom of the harbor somewhere. I don't think they were
right.
permitted to shoot there.
And listen, most of the film we weren't permitted to do, all in Central Park. No, we weren't meant to do any of that stuff. But we did.
We did.
We did. We sneaked in and we did it. Yeah.
And it caused a major controversy, but I got to say, I kind of see the point of view of the film. It was a bit graphic, but I got to say, it was very well done. And that end scene where, I won't give it away, but man, with the mannequins and whatnot, that was just creepy. I like that.
That was very bizarre. I haven't seen the new film. Have you seen the new one? I haven't seen it.
I haven't. I don't know if I got much interest in seeing it. It's just like the remake of Clash of the Titans. The remake of Clash of the Titans was horrible.
Yeah.
It was just.
It wasn't the same, was it? I did see it all CGI stuff that Ray didn't like.
I hated it. Ah.
Yeah, no, it wasn't good, was it? Didn't have the charm, or just didn't do it, did it? Somehow just didn't do it.
And the Medusa scene was nowhere near as tense and suspenseful either.
No, you're right.
But
it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah. But you worked with Spinell, like you said, 3 times. I mean, the last horror film. I have not seen the last horror film. What was that all about, and your part with that? And
it was. They called it The Fanatic, I think, didn't they? After that, the last horror film in America, I think they renamed it The Fanatic, I believe.
Okay.
It was about an obsessive fan of this woman who was Joe. Joe was his obsessive fan. He's fallen in love with this actress who was in Cannes to receive a best prize for her nomination for an acting award. Her name was Jana Bates, and that was my character. So it was really just kind of the exploits of going to Cannes, and we did film. That would talk about guerrilla filmmaking. We were thrown right into the middle of the Cannes Film Festival, and I don't know if you know anything about that.
Oh yeah.
Kind of a bit mad and a bit. It's wonderful, but it is a bit crazy too at the same time. We would just go in and our characters would be there, and we'd appear on the red carpet and things. Well, of course we shouldn't have been there at all, and our cameramen had to hide away, and we had different cameras positioned at different places. So it was very clever, and it made for quite realism. Again, you got people, general public, the reaction of people, and it was interesting way of filmmaking. I don't know if I'd recommend it, but it was quite good. It was good, and he again did a brilliant job.
You and Joe have great chemistry together, both of you.
Well, we liked each other as people. He was very sweet. He could be so charming and sweet. He was quite wild at the same time too, but he was very, very, very sweet and caring. Very, very caring man. And then, of course, we did Starcrash together. Yeah,
I was just going to mention that you had a starring role in that movie.
I was Stella Star. Well, yeah. And of course we had Christopher Plummer, and then the Hoff. We had David Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
And it was his first feature film, I think. That was interesting. It was interesting casting. Very hard film to make, very physically hard and quite draining. But people either love it or hate it. People really love it and have good fun with it and see it for what it is, because it's very kitsch and camp and over the top. Or otherwise people think, well, actually it wasn't that well made and stuff. But we had John Barry music and we did and Christopher Plummer. So we had some very good elements and beautiful cinematography. What's his name? Roberto Dottore. He was very, very good cinematography. So, and Luigi, wonderful Luigi. I adore Luigi.
Yeah.
So it was kind of interesting, really. It was good.
Yeah. What was it? Little different to translate into a central lead role like that, or because
I didn't really think about it too much. I just
no?
thought, well, I was on the set every day. No, I just thought, no, I'm just going to do it, take it, grab it, and and do my best with it. I worked very hard on it.
Did you do your own stunts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah, quite a lot of stunts we did. I hurt somebody quite badly, actually, on the film.
Oh.
By accident.
Yeah.
It was it was one of the stuntmen, because they said, no, you have to make it look really real, so get ready. So when we say action, you go. So I did, and he wasn't prepared. I'd kind of blocked what I was going to do, my moves, and I hurt his nose quite badly. It bled.
Oh.
So that was not good. Not good. So yeah, we all did our own. Everybody did their own stunts in those days. That's what you did. That was part of it. At the Earth's Core, Peter Cushing did his own stunts, and he wasn't in the first flush of youth. He did all his own stunts, and there was real fire on the set at the Earth's Core. So it was all what you saw was what was on camera was actually on set, which is very different for a lot of the films today.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
And of course, like I mentioned earlier, Slaughter High. You were in that, and that of course follows into the slasher film genre, and it reminded me a lot of Horror High, which came out in the 70s, where
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah, it's about the teenager that kind of the Carrie situation with the pig's blood,
Okay.
with
Yeah.
somebody gets, of course, in the case of Slaughter High, your character promises sexual encounter with this guy, and get him in the shower there, and then there's all these people waiting for him, and
horrible. Horrible, really. So they deserved what happened to them. They were not very nice people in that's for sure.
I have to say that was one. I had to say your character was quite mean in that.
Oh, she was horrible, nasty, spoiled piece of work, wasn't she? Not nice at all.
Yeah.
But then you kind of got to do. Naomi wasn't that nice, really. So you've got to kind of go with that in mind and try and make it your own.
But what a testament to you. You played a teenager, and says how youthful you was.
Well, I don't know about that, but again, I did my best. You can only do your best, and you can only do your best with the script you're given, with the dialogue you got to say and the situations, and you just, I when I take on a project, and now it's obviously more difficult to take on a project, because you've got to really think, well, is this what I really want to do? And the characters are getting, obviously, because of my age, they're getting older, the characters, and different. So you just have to kind of search within yourself, and one never feels one ages. Not physically, obviously. Physically you do, but mentally you never age.
No. Really,
in your head. So it's a different, difficult transition in a certain instance, but that's fine too. I like a challenge. I like a challenge, and one can't always play, goody goodies. And I feel somewhere within me there's something really, and I don't know where and I don't know when, but something I want to do. I want to do something really good. Really good character, really good film. I'd like to. Everybody'd like to, of course. Just a bit of a dream, but that would be nice one day to do that, maybe.
Well, I wanted to talk about some of the stuff you're doing now. Like, you've been to a lot of the conventions. Do you have any conventions coming up?
I do. I'm actually over in this. We're going. It's a film festival. We're going. I'm going with my lovely friend Martine Beswick and Marion Darbo on Wednesday morning at crack of dawn, we're going over for a bond to Oslo. So we're going there for 2 days. Then we come back, and then the next week we're off to Germany for a film festival with John Landis, and that will be talking about Ray a lot, Ray Harryhausen. So that will be the following week. But at the end of September, where am I going? No, yes, on the 27th of September, I'm going to something called RoverCon, which is in Virginia.
Okay.
In Roanoke, Virginia. And then after that, I'm going to a festival. It's a show, it's an event, and it's called Monsterama, and that's in Atlanta, Georgia. So that'll be that's in the weekend of the 7th of October.
Okay.
So I'll be over there, which will be nice. And we just came back from, where did we come back from? Cherry Hill, New Jersey. We went to Monster Mania, which is a fabulous show. So I did that. And Robert Englund was there. And
Tom Matthews was there.
Yes, a lot of people were there. I was there with Martine Bedrick.
I just interviewed Tom Matthews from Jason
okay.
Lives. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had
great.
he had mentioned that he was at that convention.
Yeah. No, it was a lovely show. It's always good, and Dave Hagen puts that show on. And I've done Chiller in the past quite a few times. The Chiller show, the one again in New Jersey, which is a great show to do. It's not necessarily horror, but quite a lot of horror. So
you must get
around it. Mm-hmm.
You must get lines and lines of people at your table.
You get a few sometimes, which is always nice. It's nice to be busy. Nice to chat with people. And as I always say to everybody, you don't have to buy anything. You just come by and say hello. That's fine. So that's nice if people come up and they like your work. It's very satisfying. It's a lovely give back.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
It is nice because I've heard stories about some celebrities who seem to me very ungrateful when they're at these events. Like I know I've heard
certainly shouldn't be.
I've heard stories, for example, William Shatner being very
I don't know.
Yeah, but
I was with him when that was a good few years ago. I think that was actually Atlanta, Georgia. It was a different show, and I can't even remember the name of it. But that was years ago, and he seemed very charming, so I don't know. I mean, obviously, he's going to get thousands of people coming to see him, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's not just going to get one or two, so it must be hard to spread himself around all those people. But I don't know. I don't know, really. I can't say I know the man, but he always appears very, nice and stuff. So maybe he had an off day.
I don't know. But
I doubt that. He's such I'm sure not.
But I mean, have you ever had anything really unique that anybody's brought you to sign or autograph?
They do bring body parts sometimes. When I say arms and legs and a bald head, I've signed a few arms and legs, and then they've had them tattooed, and then they've come back, with my name on, which is quite bizarre, really. And I think, oh my gosh, that's going to be, they've got that for life. That's quite a big thing, to do that for them. So, but I sign it if they want it, if they really, really want it. So, yeah, I think, that seems to be the thing now, to get the tattoo done of the people's name. It's unusual, isn't it, really?
Yeah, but you strike me from some of the pictures I've seen, you strike me as somebody who really, really enjoys these conventions, and you love engaging with the fans.
Oh, I like meeting the people.
Yeah.
It's about the people. I'm a people person. I couldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it. If my heart wasn't there, I couldn't do it. It's like the acting. If my heart isn't there, I don't, sometimes you don't fully believe in what you're doing, but you've got to give it your best shot. Sometimes you don't have time to prepare for what you're doing. But again, you give it your best shot. You try your best. You can only be yourself. You can only be very human. So, that's That's what I know. But I do meet some really fantastic people at these shows. I really do. Whether it be the guests, the other guests, or the people that come and see us. Without the people coming to see us, we wouldn't still be working and we wouldn't still be doing it. So it's definitely a two-way street, which is lovely.
I promised.
I'm very appreciative.
Well, I told your manager I would ask you about your webpage, and I've been on your webpage. Would you like to promote your webpage?
Do you know what? I am a technophobe, so I don't go on my... Jayne goes on the webpage. Jayne and John Bond, so they both go on the webpage. I don't go on it that much, but I obviously, if people write, then I do it and I send things off. I don't know what to say about it, really. I know it's out there. I think it needs updating, but it's very expensive to update, I believe. So, there's stuff out there, and it usually says where I'm going to be. So I do a newsletter I've been doing a newsletter for, golly, how long?
And that's www.carolinemunro.org? Okay.
Yes, that's the newsletter. So I've been doing that for so many years, and I send it out to people and stuff. So, yeah. But I'm not very good on self-promotion. I don't do that very well, but I love going to the shows. I absolutely love it.
Well, I don't mind promoting you. So,
thank you.
So just once again, where are you going to be for upcoming conventions, just so you can give it another plug?
I'm going to be the next one. Well, I suppose the next one in America is, I'm doing a few over here, but obviously people are in the States and maybe Canada. I'm going to be at RoverCon. It's a one-day convention in Roanoke, Virginia on the 1st of October. And then on the weekend of the 7th of October, I'm going to be, it's quite a big show, I believe, a big convention in Atlanta, Georgia, and I don't know the address. It's called Monsterama. And I'll be there for all 3 days. So that's and then I fly home. Back to my girls and my dog and everything, so back to normality. But it's lovely just to travel and do that. I am very lucky. One's got to kind of work hard and keep everything going. And I might have a film, actually. There's a possibility of a film that they're trying to get funding for, and it's called, what's the name of it? Wicked Way. It's called Wicked Way, and I believe it's a all-female crew. And I think maybe Linnea Quigley might be involved in it too. But they're trying to get funding, and it's to be shot in Florida.
Okay.
Yes, I think it sounds a really interesting script, very different. It's not out-and-out horror. It's more maybe, thoughtful and kind of, it sounds rather good.
Okay.
So hopefully they get it done for them. It would be great.
Oh, perfect. Well, before we wrap up here, I just have a couple of questions. Number one, I would be delighted to get an autographed picture of you. How do I go about that?
You have to give me your address.
I could do that.
You can send it to Jayne. You needn't do it over the phone. You can send it to Jayne Crimin, who you've been in touch with, haven't you? Do that, and I'll send you a picture. What picture would you like, from which film, or?
You know what? I gotta say, for you,
Sindbad.
It's gotta be Sindbad.
Yeah, I thought it might be.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Oh well, you email or text or whatever you do, fax or don't know what the technical term is, to Jayne, and she will get me your address, and I will send one to you for sure.
Yeah, I would love that.
Okay.
Yeah, and
fait accompli.
What's that?
A fait accompli.
Yeah.
It's done. A job done. Sorry.
Job done. Yeah,
accompli.
I could do that. I'll send that off to Jayne, and finally, this is going to right now. I've got a few interviews that are in draft that have not aired yet, but your interview is going to air in a few weeks. And yep, and when it does, I will send the link to Jayne.
Oh, excellent.
Yep,
Yeah,
I'll send the link.
Good.
Now,
That'd be super.
because of the server room here for the station, the interview will only be on CHSR for a limited period for like maybe 3 months. Now, the good news is I've got a YouTube account.
Okay.
And sometime it'll be next year, I'll be uploading this interview onto YouTube. And I just wanted to know, and I wanted to know if I had your permission to use some headshots of yours to go along with the audio.
Yes, I'm sure you can. Yes, I'm sure that's fine.
Yeah, I put one up a week. I've got 19 up there out of my 46 right now. So.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that would be fine by me, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one last final thing. Would you please do a plug for my show?
Yes.
Yeah. I would be delighted. I'd be so honored. I feel like I'm talking to royalty here.
Oh, hardly. Hardly. I'm sitting here, the dog's lying on the floor, the telly's on, and I'm going to put the kettle on and have a nice cup of tea in a minute, so hardly royalty.
I drink tea too, so there you go.
Do you? Bet you don't drink it with milk, or maybe you do because you're Canadian.
I do.
With milk?
I do.
Okay, you drink it the proper way then. Okay, that's all right then.
There you go.
Yeah, okay.
What's your favorite kind of tea?
I just like breakfast tea.
Okay.
Breakfast tea. Yeah, I like that. I mean, I do quite like peppermint tea.
Okay,
Yeah,
I've had that.
Quite invigorating. Peppermint tea and ginger tea is nice. Ginger tea is lovely.
Ah, nice.
Very nice. Mm.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, just for the plug, just state your name and say that you've been listening to Greg Gilbert in... Okay, the name of my show is called Python's Paradise. So say you've been listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise in Fredericton, New Brunswick. Can you get that?
Oh, my gosh, I'm going to have to write this down. No, not really. My brain is so tired from the weekend. I've been doing so much talking. I'm definitely going to have to write this down so I won't remember that. It's like a sieve at the moment, my brain. So I've got to find a pen somewhere. My dog could find a pen, but I don't think he can. Because I don't want to keep stopping and starting with it for you. Right.
Oh, we're good.
I'll find a pen. Okay, let's go and find a pen. I'm searching for a pen now. I must have one somewhere. So the radio show is...
it's called... Yeah, my show's called Python's Paradise. Python's like
Paradise.
Yeah, like the snake. That's my DJ name. Yeah.
Python. Yeah.
And of course, my name is Greg Gilbert.
Greg Gilbert.
Yeah.
And what was the other one?
Fredericton, New Brunswick.
Fredericton.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Fredericton, New Brunswick.
I learned of Fredericktown when I did Barbara Frietchie at school, you know, the Stonewall Jackson and Barbara Frietchie. I learned that when I was such a young kid at school.
Sure.
Do you know that?
I don't know that, but...
It's the American history, New Brunswick. It's the Stonewall Jackson. Yeah, because you're Canadian, aren't you? So it's different than the English history is different again.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I've got that now. It's you, Greg Gilbert, at Python's Paradise, Fredericton, New Brunswick.
There you go.
That's it.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, and go.
Hello, this is Caroline Munro again, and you've been listening to Greg Gilbert at Python's Paradise, Fredericton, New Brunswick. Hope you've had a brilliant time and enjoy. Take care. Bye for now.
You know what? God bless you. Thank you so much for giving me the honor of coming on here, and I apologize for keeping you as long as I have. But
no, that's fine. That's fine. My voice. I know my voice is very, very tired tonight. As I said, I've been talking the whole weekend, so it's a little bit tired. But I wish you so well with everything. You made it very easy, so that was really nice. I am going to put the kettle on now and have a nice cup of tea.
And I will send a text
Jayne.
off to Jayne about the autographs. So you'll have
Okay,
my
your address and send it, and I'll send you one for sure. I
sure.
absolutely will. Sindbad.
Yeah, I would like that.
Okay, I
Yeah.
will. It's lovely talking to you, and hopefully I get to come up to your neck of the woods sometime. We did go, Martin and I went to Toronto. We had a lovely show there. So you never know. Do they do shows like, those? They do, don't they, in Canada? Loads of them, I'm sure.
Well, we get the Silverwave Film Festival up here, but it's we haven't had anything that big here, like what you have with Toronto or whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Toronto, of course, they have the big film festival, don't they? Which is
Yeah.
amazing. So,
But
yeah.
I'm hoping to see that change here, so that more people discover
I'm sure
us.
it will do. It takes a while. Sometimes it's like here in England, it takes a while for things to get to travel. But then when they do and they catch on, and then people it's lovely for people to come along and see films and chat with the people. It's great.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway,
Caroline.
thank you to you, and
Yeah.
have a good. It's afternoon for you, isn't it? 10 o'clock for me.
Well, it's actually 6 o'clock here, so
Oh, okay. You can go and have something to eat, maybe. Or,
there you go.
yeah.
I'm
Okay.
celebrating a wonderful interview gone well.
Oh, thank you so much, Greg, and you take care.
You too.
And yeah, I look forward to hearing from you when it comes out and stuff.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, Caroline, God bless, and thank you so
And
much.
you too. You take care.
Yeah,
Take care, Greg, and thank you.
you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Yeah.